Good evening. Thank you for coming to the City Council meeting, May 23rd, 2022. Stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council Clerk will do the roll call.
Councilman Gary Donovan.
Councilman Gary Donovan, Councilman at Large, present.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor.
Councilwoman Colleen O'Connor, Council at Large here.
Councilman Ronald Quagliani.
Here.
Councilwoman Bridget Hosky.
Here.
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite.
Councilwoman Melly Garthwaite, second district, present.
Councilwoman Sarah Acrobali.
Councilwoman Sarah Akbarali, third district, present.
Councilman Mitchell Galignano is absent, right? Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton.
Councilwoman Robin Watt Hamilton, fifth district, here.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker.
Councilwoman Catherine Tucker, seventh district, present.
Councilman Victor Boris.
Councilman Victor Morris, eighth district, present.
Councilman Robert Bruno.
Councilman Robert Bruno, 9th District, present.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone.
Councilman Stephen Johnstone, 10th District, present.
And Chairman Peter Massaro.
Chairman Peter Massaro, present.
Okay, we have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Entertain public session. Anybody like to come up to the podium, speak to the council? Yes, ma'am. Ms. Weinstein.
Good evening, Paige Weinstein, 20 Platt Avenue. I have a request that I know I don't think falls under the normal course of business in town. There are so many things going on and so many, let's say, rumors as to whether we're going to have a Memorial Day parade, whether we're going to have fireworks. And I would like to request, if it's at all possible, for there be some type of communication that comes from the council as to changes that are going on within the community. All of us are concerned, and obviously there is no plan of action, or we've never been down this road before as we are right now with MARB. And as a representation of our districts, it would be wonderful if we could establish some type of communication, even if it was a letter that comes out on the town website saying, hey, this is what's going on this week. Because when we're only reading things in the papers, or we're reading, what somebody may be posting online, what have you, it would be wonderful to receive it back from the community. And so that's part A. Part B of that is if you can also, I know this is a one-way conversation, but if you tonight, you may be already planning on giving us an update on the fireworks and on the parade. I think that there's a lot of people that are really wondering about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to come up and address the council? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Ingeborg Nelson, and I live at 592 Campbell Avenue, West Haven, Connecticut. I've been a resident since 1969. I started this petition, and I have signatures about the John Barone Bocce Court down at the beach. I've been a beach constable for 11 years, and over the course of the years, I've heard a lot of things and seen a lot of things. Well, this certain group, I guess, was given permission to run this court. They got a key to the shed there, and they use it now for like their own private little club. And I tried to even play down there, and one of their little members told me that I couldn't play there. I had to go to the other side. That's why I started this petition. So what I wanted to find out from the city was, do they have a charter? Do they have a written agreement with the city to use this? Are they an organization? Did the city allow them to put, I'm very nervous, refrigerator into the shed, and they use it for their own personal use? They have water in there. I've seen them give ice pops to kids on the beach. This is all taxpayers' money. I don't know what, I don't get the luxury of having my own little beach resort there. They store their chairs in the back of the shed. They have a big garden back there. If I'm a citizen, I have to go pay $50 or how much it is at Malloy School to have a garden. This is our shorefront, and they get to build a garden. And I got into trouble last year because I took 2 cucumbers, and I have in my personal statements about what happened, one of the guys started swearing at me. And I felt really offended by this, but I have it all in the personal things. And what else did I want to find? Oh, did the city give them permission to grow the garden on the beachfront? I'd like the city to take this court back, because I have petitioned, I have signatures of people that did say they were not allowed to play on there. And as a citizen of West Haven, I think everybody should play on there, and no private citizen should be able to run that and tell another person what they can and cannot do. And how do they get to use the facilities? Even at COVID, everything was closed, but the person that had the key to that shed went in there and got water out. That's our taxpayer dollars. And I think the city should look into this and take this back, this court. I won't say names because I have it all written down here, and I made copies. But I need to have somebody do something about this. As a resident and as my rights of West Haven, I should be equal, not lower than anybody else, and be treated differently than anybody else. I made copies. I only made 4 copies. So if anybody wants it. I only have a couple. I like to give all this. And I put my name and address on the back. And I went to Park and Rec, and I talked to Mark Payne, and he said they've been doing it for years, and that's all he knows. Thank you.
Anyone for the
That's gonna stop.
record.
Yeah, and I'll do this story.
For the record.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else like to get up and address the council? Or anybody else? Yes?
Pat Bollettieri, 215 West Walk. I've been coming to city council meetings for years, and I want to share some of my observations with you, and I hope they help. First, I've noticed that you have a hard time saying no. For example, at the May 9th meeting, you were discussing whether to put a project to replace the windows in City Hall using ARPA funds out to bid. And Councilman Donovan said he didn't think he could support putting this out to bid, and at least 3 of you agreed with him. Not because it isn't important, but because maybe the ARPA funds should not be used. But instead of voting no, you made the project bigger and more expensive by attaching an energy audit to it. And then you approved putting the audit and the windows out to bid. I think your initial instincts were correct. Say no for now and revisit the windows later. It's a sign of bad faith to put out a bid with no intention of doing the project. And bids have a way of finagling themselves into done deals. And there was no discussion on the energy audit. Another thing I've noticed is the number of times you don't get what you asked for. Councilwoman Hosky brings this up a lot. And yes, it is disrespectful when you don't get what you asked for the first time you ask for it. You can demand it per the city charter. Councilwoman Garthwaite last meeting asked for the vendor ethics forms, and the finance director said he would provide them. They should be put on the city website. The police pension study that you've been asking for, have we found it yet? Apparently we were billed for it. And one more thing. The last meeting was on May 9th. So on May 10th, I think you should get both the agenda and the materials for the next meeting, because you don't really have time to study and digest all the things that are on your plate, because you only have a few days to do so. So to summarize, don't be afraid to say no. Have more meaningful deliberations, but in order to do that, you need to have more time to review your materials. And if you don't get what you ask for, call those responsible up in front of you to explain themselves.
Thank you, Mrs. Pelletier. Anyone else like to get up and address the council? Yes, ma'am.
This is the first time for me doing this, so I might hesitate a little. My name is Karen Elimelech. I live at 375 Captain Thomas Boulevard, Unit 58. I'm here because I moved down here in 2014. I felt this was a good place for me to start over after my divorce. And I was in heaven when I was renting. And Ed O'Brien was in office at the time. And I have to tell you that that beach was pristine. It was a place I would run to after work to go dance and let go of my anxiety, my anger, and my upset. And now I'm angry and upset because on the weekends I am scared stiff to go down there. It is full of gangs, bikers, there's no police presence. It's a mess. I have pictures upon pictures, and my friend Nia over here took pictures of me cleaning up the mess yesterday morning because I drove into the shopping center to go to Dunkin' Donuts, and there was garbage everywhere. If we don't do something about this and get that garbage emptied more regularly, we're going to have a rat fest down there. I have the proof in my phone if you want to see it. Overflowing garbage. That nice man that empties the garbage needs to be able to do it more than once a day on the weekends and especially on music nights, because we have a whole group come in, especially on Wednesday nights. I don't know where they come from. I don't know who they are, but they leave a trail behind them, and it's dangerous. Yesterday, I was one of the people that called 911 when a fight broke out at the beach, and my friends over here were there, and they're elderly, and they were scared, and they left as soon as the fight broke out, and I was on the phone with her. I said, I'll call 911. And the police flew down there from all angles, because also my friend Virginia called. Okay? So it's a mess. It's a mess. We need to have parking restrictions. We need to have the garbage either emptied more regularly, or we need to put more garbage canned, because it's a mess. I, as a private citizen with degenerative discs in my back, should not be going out 3 to 4 times a weekend and picking up the trash. I don't get paid. I get paid with thank yous from the private citizens because they see me doing it. I think that's all really I have to say. My bottom line is drugs, gangs, trash. That's what our beach has become. What's that? Fights. And fight. Well, gang fights. And it's bad. We need to have a policeman like we used to have just walking the beach. As soon as you have that cop down there, it's peaceful. People, at least we don't have the fights. But please, let's do something about this. Let's do something about the trash. I want to be happy that I moved here and not regret my decision, because I know what I can make on my house right now. And if I knew where I wanted to go, I'd probably sell it tomorrow because of the conditions down here. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else like to get up and address the council? A second time. Anybody else? Mr. Hickey.
Michael Hickey, 32 Bungalow Lane. I see the taxpayers of West Haven got thrown under the bus and Marv was coming in, but my leader's not here. What's that about? And I wanna know is the question, why do we need a mayor now and an exec and pay that kind of money if Marb's gonna run the show? Maybe we should have just give her no confidence and tell her to leave. I see on the agenda, there's still nothing about, calling in the Attorney General. I've only been asking, what, for the last 2 months? I kinda knew this wasn't gonna happen, all right? But I proved my point. See, you could have gotten the Attorney General, and he'd have proved there was no crime going on, and then you could have said, I told you so, Mike. But the problem being is, you're more afraid that if the Attorney General comes down and finds out that I'm right, then you're gonna be in trouble. So it's the heck with the taxpayers, and don't worry about the thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars that walked out of this town. Just go back home, keep your mouth shut, and pay your taxes. Because the Democratic machine will do what the Democratic machine wants to do. And right now, you're in full protective mode at all costs. Now, what's going to happen to the taxpayers if Marb says they want the $3 million back to the state? And has anybody asked the simple question, has any of the checks that weren't supposed to go out to people been returned to the finance office yet? Over $900,000? Has anybody stood up and said, well, here you are. I'll give you the money back if I didn't deserve to get it. Not a dime has come back, has it? And nor will it ever. And all of us sitting here will pay for that. But I didn't get a check. All right? That care package money was supposed to go to the people that were in dire need of it because of the lockdowns, the businesses that disappeared or had to pay rents. All right? Even though you didn't allow them to be open. The people and the waitresses and all the other employees that were in this town that didn't get any money. They had to sit home because the government told them they had to sit home. That was supposed to help. That's where the money was supposed to go. Not in the pockets of people who were already and still collecting a paycheck. If you're getting paid every week, what did you need extra money for? And if you stood up and were asked if you could spare your time to help out during a COVID pandemic or something, and you volunteered, where I come from, if I volunteer, don't reach in your pocket, I'm not looking for it. $20,000 checks, $22,000 checks. And these are commissioners that were making almost $100,000, if not more. You didn't lose a paycheck. The cops didn't lose a paycheck. The firemen didn't lose a paycheck. They were paid every week. But you handed it out to all the good boys and girls. I wonder exactly how many of those people weren't Democrats. Good question to ask. Inquiring minds want to know. This was a case of $1.1 million taking care of our friends. Now I have a serious problem here because I got the funny feeling that Mike and them boys are going to get off on the Fed charges because your check's cleared first. So technically, even though we did put it under care, it was actually city money that walked out. Now, I know the finance director was handed his hat and coat and left, but the person that processed the paperwork in the finance department, is that person still sitting there? Because I know for a fact, running a business and knowing enough about a business, all right, that the finance director is the last signature. He doesn't do the little inky bit paperwork. Who is the person that processed all that paperwork in that finance department? Who didn't dot their I's or cross their T's? Where is that person? This is a city council. This is your job to ask those questions, not mine. This is your job. You cleared a budget that just took a hike. And now you got until the 15th of June to come up with another one so I can find out exactly what I'm going to pay in taxes. This is a smack in the face of every taxpayer. I don't care if it's a Democrat, Republican, or an independent. You literally pounded us right smack into the ground. And not one of you will take that mayor and this finance department to task I can't run for city council or anything else in this city right now. I have a very sick wife. And I have to leave as soon as I'm through here. But God forbid if anything happens to her, I will be back. And I'll show you what determination and a thick person I can be. And I could turn this city around in less than 6 months. Because I was raised, when you show up for work, work. Simple as that. You wanted to be on this city council, you wanted to be somebody, this isn't something that goes on your resume. You took an oath, fulfill it. Back up the people. Bring her to task. Bring this entire finance department to this hearing. Bring Public Works and the teachers and boards and everything else and find out where my money's going from. Because we're tired of it. You're going to keep asking more. I know we're going to get whacked. I'm sitting here. Here's Milford, the 3rd year in a row that's actually lowered their mills. My mayor balanced the budgets for the last 4 years on the backs of the taxpayers. I'm no fool. We got a mill increase for the 3 straight years when she first started. No mill increase for last year, but instead we got robbed. All right? And now we're going to go right back to getting whacked. So the mill rate we didn't get for last year, we're going to pay very heavy for this year. Because one thing I know about the Marv, they don't sit and come in and straighten things out. They balance the budget on the backs of us taxpayers. They always have, and they always will. They're over there passing out money like Grant took Richmond. We're supposed to have a discussion on a police pension. All of a sudden, we're going to cut checks for $10,000. All right, and we're going to go back to an old-style benefit plan. Do you understand that the very plan that you're talking about, the state walked away from at least 30 years ago because they could see what was coming, and you want to put these taxpayers in that bubble? I got Public Works people that are retiring with twice as much as the private industry who pays their bills, who pays their salaries. I had a very smart millionaire tell me one time, Mike, the day that your workers make more than you, you're not a millionaire anymore. You're working for them. They don't want to work for me and they don't want to work for what I say I'm offering and what I'm giving. Then tell them to leave. No more of this, oh, if you vote for me, I'll give you. Because all you did was sell us down the tubes. The reason the state and the cities used to get the workers and hold on to the workers was for the benefits and the medical, the retirement and the medical. There was no big pay. Now you got all of that and then some. And now the private worker out there has nothing. I'm sitting holding on. I'm in a fixed income area. There is no raises for me coming anymore. I'm not the fire department or the police department that gets a cost of living every time the police gets a raise or the fire department gets a raise. I'm not in that position. What I got is all I got. I'm being drained empty. I'm sitting here, got to pay my taxes in July 1st, all right, and I'm still in my head trying to figure out how I'm going to put heat in the house at over $6 a gallon. And remember, we haven't stopped taking oil from Russia yet, not until June 24th. So it's going to be $8 to $9 a gallon. But you're going to want your tax money on time. You're not interested in the taxpayers or how, and I'll go to hell first in a handbasket before I'll ever become a beggar. I never borrowed, begged from anybody in my life, and this city's not going to break me to that point. But I'll figure out some way of shortchanging yous. Don't make one mistake, because from this point on, I'm watching. If you sneeze wrong, I'll be here. If you breathe wrong, I'll be here. You're going to fly right or get up and leave. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Hickey. Anybody else like to come up and address the council? Mr. Weinstein.
Good evening, everyone. Andy Weinstein, 20 Platt Avenue. Paul Frazzolone spoke I believe it was the last meeting, about the brewery being better suited for the area that was going to be the havens. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think we should give it serious consideration. Tractor trailers are not designed to be on Campbell Avenue and Ocean Avenue and Captain Thomas Boulevard, which is what a brewery will bring. Also, having a brewery on the boardwalk is not a great idea. But having a restaurant with a brewery over by the Havens, which is near the highway, and in an area where boats can come up and utilize their services, I think makes a lot of sense. I know there's a meeting Friday, and there's no contracts at this point, so I would encourage suggesting that it goes in that direction. This is my 4th council meeting. And one thing that I see that's missing or that could really change some of the dynamic, I hear people get up and talk about the potholes, which are real, and the bridge. I mean, it's the same topics over and over again. We have questions over and over, but we don't get an answer. And I understand there was a time when we could engage council people, and I understand there were times that didn't go well. But maybe once the public comments are closed, somebody from the council can address us with answers to our questions. And even if they're not immediate, if you don't have the answers to tonight's questions, you can come back in 2 weeks and report back to us. It's kind of a one-way dialogue, and I think it would behoove the council and help the residents to have it become a two-way dialogue. Also, I understand there's a lot of behind closed doors meetings, and I think the ARPA funds should be kept in the open, should be done at meetings like this rather than behind closed doors. We should all see what's going on with the ARPA funds. I had occasion today to take a ride by on Front Avenue, First, where the sewer plant is. And there's a new road that's there that a year ago was flat, and now it's got big ripples in it. I mean, it's like almost a roller coaster type thing. That should be looked at. And my last item on my list is an important one. 6 weeks ago, you guys committed to an investigation committee. No one's been put in charge. No one's been appointed. No lawyer's been engaged. What's going on? And I think we're entitled to answers on that. 6 weeks, 3 meetings ago, and nothing has happened. It's like cover for Nancy and cover for the council and kick the can down the road. And this is kind of how the residents of this town see politics in this town. And it's a special kind of ugly. And I encourage communication with the residents and the citizens of this town. We deserve that. And quick action to put a committee together. Thank you.
Anyone else like to get? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Lisa McNellis from 200 Oak Street, and I'm saying because a couple of years ago on 200 Oak Street, the sidewalk portion, there's a fire hydrant right there, and the pavement around it was very bad at the time, and I fell there and I sprained my ankle, so I got that I got treated, and I came to City Hall a few days later. And I reported that, and someone in that office told me, oh, that's not the city property, it's the housing property. So I then went to the lady in our building office, and she told me, no, it's the city property. So now who am I gonna not complain, but who am I gonna speak to about that? So turned out a couple months later, when some city work needed to be done, Miss Rossi and whomever, they started doing the pavement down at the boardwalk, and then they did get over there onto Oak Street and took care of that pavement. Oh yeah, after I complained, and she tells me it's not the city's responsibility. So I didn't, luckily I have full insurance. My medical coverage took care of my bills and all that. But I think was very rude that I was told it's not the city property. And there's other areas around the city, like, 'cause I don't drive, I can't drive because of my health. And like walking down Elm Street, you know, they've done a lot of street work, but a few sidewalk areas that I know of. But Elm Street went by Campbell and Elm. When you walk down in the Stop and Shop direction, that sidewalk has been like that, torn up for years. I wonder if they're ever going to take care of that for pedestrians. I know they do work for the drivers, but what about for the pedestrians? So, any suggestions?
They can't have dialogue. They can't answer the question.
All right. Well. Words for other people, but nothing for me. Your response to other people, but not me. Forget this.
Anyone else like to get up and address the council?
I wasn't gonna get up and speak, but I'm gonna actually speak. So, good evening, everybody. I don't want to be a negative Nelly, so I kind of bulletproof kind of what Karen said. Oh, well, I'll give my name and Marion Street resident. How about that?
Your address, ma'am? Could you
Oh, fine. $7,000 for taxes. 27 Marion. So
What'd she say?
I like I said, I didn't want to be a negative Nelly, but I had emailed the city, and I think I did it through Facebook, through social media. No one responded back to me, but I did get a happy emoji or a thumbs up. So one that signifies to me, I usually don't say I'm a resident of West Haven. I have a little joke and say I'm a taxpayer. I've been a taxpayer since 1995. And I love the town, by the way. You know, I was born in Derby and Ansonia, so my husband tends to call me a valley girl. But I really like West Haven, guys. It signifies community. It signifies family. It signifies a lot for me. A little hurt about the boat ramp. The graffiti. Not nice. I sent an email. Not nice, guys. I'm almost 50 years old. And my mom worked hard when we growing up. And living in New Haven, to look over that little peep, to walk down to by where C Street is, I always said, you know, one day I want to live over that way, you know? I finally live over this way, on the shoreline. I work very hard, as my husband. We've had a few businesses in West Haven, closed now. I pay my taxes happily. There's some people verified coming real happy, like, yee. The boat ramp, I get it. There's things that happen, but could we beautify it, please? Could we get some volunteers, some community service kids, clean up the graffiti, please? I was going to go over and do it myself. I said, but I didn't want someone to give me a ticket and be like, ma'am, you can't do that. You don't have permission. The dirt bikes going over the bridge, guys. It wasn't allowed for 20, 30 years. Don't allow it now. I understand law enforcement have their hands full. Thank you for serving. If you're law enforcement in a room or your family, thank you. because I come from a military and law enforcement family. Thank you. I get it. You're there to do a job, not to speak, and to serve the public. Very hard job, as well as yourselves. As Karen said in the parking lot, my cutoff point, my husband said, if some of you recognize me and know me, I'm not a political person at all. But come on, soiled diapers in a parking lot on Captain Thomas Boulevard? Disgusting. Disgusting. I'm a woman of color. I'm a grandmother. I'm an educator. I could go on and on. Not nice, guys. Not nice. The trash this weekend, bad. 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 Very bad. And I've lived over on the shoreline, on the coast, Captain Thomas Boulevard, in that area for some time. For at least 5 years, had businesses over. Bad. We got it, please. I'm only appealing to your emotional side, nothing else. Potholes, I think you know already. They're bad. Again, the trash in the beach, not good. The sand, by this time, the gentleman that drives the truck with the little ducky on the back, I don't know his name. But let me tell you, when I see him, I make sure my car and nobody else's car speeds. And if you're behind me, I'm going like 20 miles per hour. You're going to be mad because I'm going to let him make it to the beach because I know what he's doing. The beach is also dirty. I enjoy the beach. I enjoy, if you're a Westie, you go to Duncan. My girls are like, Mom, you are like totally sold out. They think I'm just hideous. My other daughter says, Mom, there's a big planet on the world. My father-in-law is appealing me to come to Sarasota. I'm going to do it, but I want my residency to be here, guys. So I don't mind paying the $7,000 in taxes, the $2,000 above in mortgage. Don't care. Because West Haven signifies community and family to me. I'm pretty sure some of you have taken a drive on Campbell Avenue. I used to walk from our condo to downtown and do my banking sometimes at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night. Ask me, why are we having clubs and restaurants? I was going to send a letter in writing on that one. I get it. People are struggling. Business is struggling. But let's not turn your restaurants into a nightclub. Really? And we got little kids coming in here? Come on, guys. You're asking for trouble for West Haven. Like that. Let's stop it. Please. I used to be a business owner in this town. And let me tell you, not only was I the mother, the wife, the business owner, the everything, I wasn't allowing a lot of things in here to destroy the image that we have in this town. No matter how hard I was hurting financially to operate that business. I do want to say a few things in closing. There's a few officials. I won't respond who they are. I appreciate them. I told them the last meeting I would come down. I appreciate them. They respond to my emails. So I thank you for that. And that would also be, I wasn't going to put them on the spot, but I will. The director, I don't know who you are if you're here now, of Public Works. Thank you. I appreciate you. Street cleaning. I see the streets get clean. It'd be nice to go in some of the inner streets though as well. Let's show our community we care. And the ones that don't care about the community, trust me, you come around, law enforcement up, they're going to leave. Because there's people in this town that really don't care. And parking, permit, enforcement. What I saw also this past week, and I was quietly observing, I saw people just not caring. They don't care. Parking in the new parking lot. I'm not even going to give my opinion on a new Family Dollar and Dollar Tree. You don't want to hear that. You need to enforce a lot of things in this town. Because if we go to Woodmont and Milford, they're enforcing. Guys, I get it. COVID happened. Things happen. There's trouble everywhere, as my realtor tends to tell me. That's great. But I don't see in other towns what I see in West Haven. And I really like this town. I love this town. So if we can kind of collaborate, I'm only appealing to your emotional sides. I'm not up here for politics. Please, let's just clean up, guys, and let our law enforcement do what they need to do. That's it.
Ma'am, can I have your name one more time? She didn't hear it.
It is Nia.
Nia.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come up and address the council? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Kathy Hebert, 166 Bloom Street. And basically, today I want to talk about Sandy Point, the park over there. And today I was down there doing weed whacking. And you know what? I love doing that kind of stuff, but I'm not quite sure why Public Works is not doing it. And I have pictures, blah, blah, blah. I mean, before and after. And I would like you all to direct Public Works to do Sandy Point mowing and weed whacking and whatever. We're all willing to help, but they overlook that park. So that's it.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else would like to come up and address the council? Second time. Would anybody else like to get up and address the council? Yes, ma'am.
Hello, everybody. I'm Silvana Pasella. I live at 281 Highland Avenue. The boat ramp, we had a bunch of volunteers down there last weekend cleaning it up. I didn't see any graffiti, but I saw rat traps, which I kind of don't understand because that's their habitat. So I don't know if it's the city. We might be wasting money with that. I saw 2 traps. I also wanted to bring up the fact about beach season, which is here, and I've lived here all my life. I've never seen so many people down on the beaches this early in the season. I grew up on Fairview Ave, and so that's where I always go because there's not a lot of people, there's no parking, and it was wall-to-wall people from the Pink Playground, Dawson, like people. I've never seen so many before Memorial Day. So it's understandable the amount of trash, why we had so much trash. The trash cans overflowing. So we really, really need beach patrols. I remember growing up, we had beach patrols. We had people on the beaches every morning in the summertime combing the beaches. And I haven't noticed that's been happening in a long, long time. So if there's any way to bring that back, beach constables and having beach cleanup crews that are working throughout the day. If not, like a couple times during the week and all weekend long, like I really feel like it's really needed. And having like the constables and the patrols will probably alleviate, a lot of the problems with, the youth acting crazy down there riding their bikes all over the place and scaring the bejesus out of everybody. Parking, I know people are going to start complaining about parking soon because I noticed even in my neighborhood, it doesn't really bother me, people parking to avoid paying. I understand that, times are hard and everyone trying to kind of looks for a way to kind of get around like paying, so they park all in the neighborhoods and it's fine. But what if the city were to implement a citywide parking pass? They do this in Illinois. You can buy stacks of them. Each household can get stacks of parking passes, so when they have visitors, it's a little fixture to the window. It's very simple. Parking there, take it out. Out-of-towners can purchase the passes. It could be used. I know there's parking issues around the VA hospital, around UNH. I know residents have issues, so it would actually work throughout the whole city, not just seasonal when we have like a lot of beach goers coming here. And it'll also help pay for the constables and the extra workers that we would have. Railroad, the train station. I've mentioned this like a few times to some city council people. I work on Railroad Avenue, And every day I see kids, I see women pushing strollers, elderly people with their groceries coming from Allen Crossing, people coming from under the bridge. There's no sidewalks on the bridge. And so there's actually, and the grass always grows really high, and I think the railroad company is supposed to maintain that, and they don't. It always grows really high, and there's a little trail where you see where the people like walk trying to stay off the street because it is highly traveled, like a lot of cars, trucks, and I worry about the people, especially when I see like women pushing strollers. It like breaks my heart. And we have a great train station and nothing connecting the neighborhoods. We only have sidewalks from, down Sawmill Road to like portions, and then portions of the businesses along, along Railroad Avenue. You know what I mean? So there is nothing connecting the train station to, the neighborhoods. So I know that with ARPA, sidewalks were brought up at one point. So I'm hoping maybe that can be brought up, because I really feel, I really, really, really think that that's so important. We really need sidewalks there, at least coming over the bridge or coming from the highway, like underneath the highway, and then over the railroad bridge. In Allentown, why can't the city rent one of the new offices for our library? Why do we have to build a whole new library? Why can't we get with the village improvement and see what are the needs for the people in Allentown that usually would use the library? I lived in Allentown for 13 years. I used that library. When times were hard for me and I didn't have internet, I would go down there and I would use the internet. I was going to school at that time also, so I would do my work over there. I know that people utilize the library to do resumes and they look for help. I don't think you need a whole building anymore. I think if you really look at what are the needs in the area, you can rent. You have beautiful buildings over there. Rent it out. I think it would save us so much money in the end. It makes sense to me. And also, UNH. Go to UNH. Ask them to open their bookstore in one of those buildings. I can envision a bookstore on the corner there with a coffee shop so the students can come in. Even the residents can go in and get UNH sweatshirts and stuff. And, I think it would be really nice, and it would be a great asset, and it gives people something to do over there too, because we don't have any real congregating areas in Allentown. When I lived there, I used to walk my son in the cemetery, and there were no parks. So I would have to either go into New Haven or go across the city, to the West Shore. And that always really, really upset me. I don't think anybody, and Allentown is a really close-knit community too. So if you put something like that, if you give them something, I think that they would really appreciate it, because they always feel like, they're the last ones to get stuff, The Havens. We've been held hostage too long. I really hope that you guys will consider getting the Havens and NEMCO together, because even I mean, Paul Froslone's idea, I love that idea. It makes so much sense. It gives the anchor for the Havens. Other stuff will come there. I see the boats coming up. I see a promenade like they promised us. So it would connect communities. They could ride bikes. They could walk. I just see so many things happening over there, but we just need to make a move. And I feel like if the city can get these two groups together, maybe that can happen. Because I know that a lot of people are really concerned about having big commercial trucks coming up and down Kelsey Avenue. It's already we have a lot of potholes that is. So the amount of weight that those trucks and the damage that it's going to do, and considering how we're not that great at keeping up on our potholes in the city, I don't think that that's going to help. I see for the conference center a state-of-the-art community center, one that can house an art center, a senior center, and our community needs. Like, I feel like you could even have a dedicated floor or section dedicated to the Savin Rock Museum. In the West Haven Voice, it said that, you know, no one really cares about the museum. Well, I'm guilty. I'll say I've never been there, but the roof is falling down. It doesn't look like very, I don't know, it doesn't look like somewhere that I would want to go visit. You know what I mean? But I care about the stuff that's in it, and maybe if it was put in a different place or displayed differently, or if people really knew like what was even in it would give people a reason to want to go there. You know, and at Lighthouse Park, you know, they have like they have that carousel building. Like, why couldn't we have like a section with all the memorabilia in there, and then people could like rent it out? Like, that would help everybody. And you can use it all year round. You could have vendors renting it out. You could have people renting it out. They could have parties. They could have weddings, just like we used to have at the conference center before. I mean, that used to make our city money. You know, these are just ideas that I have. Like as far as like the art center, because I know that people are really pushing the art center, and I love the arts. I'm not saying anything bad. I just feel like we need a community center that can have everything, that can house everything, you know? Like, if it was like right on the beach, like big windows, you know, the windows that can be removed. Like, imagine like on a summer night, you have people playing music, like symphonies, or displaying art, and it's all right there. It's on the beach, plenty of room for seating and everything. Like, everybody can enjoy it. You know, not everybody's gonna enjoy a beer on the beach, let's face it. And there's a lot of people that don't drink, you know, and there's not places for them to go that's really beautiful that they could like just sit and relax and congregate, you know. Which brings me to the Grove. So there's like nothing on our beachfront. Like, there's nothing. It's just the beach. It's just the boardwalk. Why can't we have like a seasonal like food stand or coffee shop down there? You know, again, a place to congregate, something that, you know, people could do. And signage, like signage for the businesses, showing where the businesses are. You know, there's Prospect Beach House is this way. Savin Rock Surf Shop is, you know, in this direction. You know, bike rentals in this direction. Like, people come down there, like, if they're not from here, they're not going to know about all the stuff that Savin Rock Beach Shop has, you know what I mean? And so I'm going to just leave with one more thing, and this has been, like, in my mind for a long, long time, and I'm just going to say it. I don't know if anybody's ever been to Navy Pier in Chicago, but it's this huge pier, and it has restaurants, it has a botanical garden, it has like virtual rides and stuff in it. And I see Beach Street kind of being like that. Like, every time, like, we're bringing in sand, we're wasting all this money, the water comes in, it takes it out, you know what I mean? But if we built a pier there, and I hope developers are watching, if you build a pier there, you come up over the water, everything is there, you shut down the street, stops all these kids that are like flying down our new road on Beach Street and ending up in West Walk, because you can close the road from Morris to 3rd Ave. I think it's 3rd Ave extension, that whole area, and you could just build like a huge pier above the water, and it'll bring businesses. Like, that would be a destination for West Haven. That's just my idea. I know that's not really in your hands, but it's in my idea. That's my idea. And I know that we're at a crossroads right now. I just hope that we choose the right road to go down. And you guys are all in a position where you can do something. You know, I was here and just talk till my face is blue. You know, I'll just keep talking, but you're all in a position to get stuff done. And I just hope that at the end of the day, you do what's right and make stuff better for us, you know? So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to get up and address the council?
My name is Kimmery Mullen. I live on 2nd and 3rd Avenue Extension. When I moved to West Haven, I noticed that there was a lot that needed to be done. I chose this town specifically because I always love the underdog. I love the underdog. I see things that have possibility, and I knew that this would be one of those towns, but it's just been a fight every single day. Every single day you wake up here and every single thing is a fight. I lived in Westchester County before that, and before this, and before that I lived in Fairfield County, and I was very heavily involved in the community. I always get involved, I always volunteer, and I become quickly, very quickly part of the fabric of the community through my volunteer work. I was with Silvana at the boat ramp the other day
Ma'am,
cleaning.
please address the council because you're turning, we
Oh,
can't hear
sorry.
you.
I was with Silvana at the boat cleaning the other day. I was there. I still have dirt in my nails, Kathy. I can't get the dirt out from planting at the Sandy Point Overlook Park. I do everything I can to get involved, but I'm getting tired. I'm going to tell you, I'm just getting tired. I clean up garbage almost every single day on 3rd Avenue Extension. I clean the Sandy Point parking lot almost every single day. They backed into the shed the other day, the watering shed. They knocked it down. No one's going to fix it. It's been like that forever. We complain about all this stuff, but I don't even know who we're complaining to anymore because nothing ever gets done. Volunteers, like I said, I always volunteered. Volunteers are not supposed to supplement jobs, okay? People are still supposed to do their jobs, but then the volunteers help and do more. But unfortunately, the grass is this high in Sandy Point Overlook Park. The grass is this high in the Sandy Point Beach parking lot, and you can't even walk across the street with your dogs because the ticks are all over the place, and I'm not even exaggerating. Who mows the lawn there? Tommy Green mows the lawn there, and he just hit a... And Kathy Hebert. Kathy, sorry, how old are you? Should you be mowing the lawn?
Wednesday, I'll be 68.
All right, so we're all getting tired. I'm 50 years old. I'm tired. I'm tired of cleaning up garbage every day. I used to have a social life. I used to go things. Now every Monday night I'm at a city council meeting. Every weekend I'm cleaning up garbage. I can't even tell you the stuff that I get off the beach, but it's such a big job. It's such a big job, and there's just no more people. My two neighbors, former city planner Dave Colleen and his husband, they're the ones who take care of all of those gardens with their own water because the city didn't water it for a very long time. Do you know how expensive that water is? You probably see them, some of you, when you drive by. Two seniors walking with their cart, filling it up, this big gallon with all the water. They water all the flowers. We have to beg and beg and beg for Public Works to come and water that. So we don't want them to die because we all planted them. All those gardens are maintained by volunteers, and all that money is maintained. They buy these carts just specifically for that. We don't see anybody. I don't know who's going to fix Tommy Green's lawnmower that he mowed the other day and hit a piece of rebar that probably I missed when I was doing one of my cleanup because the grass was this high. It's broken, Melly. I know it's broken. Okay, so his lawnmower is broken. And I don't know at night why there's crime in the parking lot almost every single night because the gate is left open when we met with the cops, the Sandy Point Neighborhood Association. They promised us they were going to close it at 9 o'clock at night, 10 the latest, and there's people partying and doing all sorts of things. I can't even tell you what I pick up in there. I can't even tell you. You wouldn't even believe what I bend down and pick up. It's so disgusting what they do in there because they're there till 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. It spills over to 3rd Avenue Extension, and it's just a nightmare. So, I don't know what else to do. We just keep getting up here. We keep coming in front of you. And we're not lazy. We're not complainers. We're doing it. We're out there doing it. We're trying to help. I want to find out where this... I'm sitting here wondering where the graffiti is. I'm like, how did we miss that graffiti? Because now I want to figure out how we can go and clean that up. There's only so much we can do. We have limited resources and limited people, and we're just tired. I think, Randy, to Andy's point, the road race, the whole thing is wobbly. There's already been 2 accidents. I don't even know if anyone found out. 2 cars have flipped by going too fast on Beach Street up there. It's really weird walking up there right now. I don't know if it's settled weird, but someone should look into that. Not to be a complainer, but it's just dangerous. And the cars go like 90 miles an hour. They go so fast, and I know someone's going to get hurt and someone's going to get killed. We don't want that to happen. So, you know, I'm not up here to complain. I'm really just here to say we're trying our best as citizens, not all of us, like the young lady said before, a lot of people don't care. But there's some of us who really, really care. And I know a lot of you up here care. And I know that many of you are trying to do the right thing. And I know somehow with the new people up here, you can all work together. We have this money. Let's just figure out something that we can do, because we can make this better. We can fix it if we work together. And I would just love just to have a Monday night off, to be honest. That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Anyone else like to get up and address the council? Or anybody else would like to get up and address the council?
Good evening, everyone. My name's Rich Hebert. I live at 166 Bloom Street. A lot of the people in this room here were out doing a lot of these different cleanups that we've been talking about. Now, part of the problem is there's something wrong with people not putting the cans out. You know, if you put the cans out, people may tend to put some of the garbage in there. I've been here for a long time. There used to be a lot more cans out, and there used to be a lot more work done by the city. We're talking about Sandy Point, which is a nationally recognized bird sanctuary. It's a gem. People come from all over the country to go there, and it's a mess. We keep cleaning it. It's been something we've been working on for years. I'm also one of the guys that goes down there and picks up and does the mowing. And I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. Part of the problem with this city is you don't do the small things. Potholes. I drive by them every day. You can go by any street in this town and there's a pothole. And I see a little bit snippet in the paper today. We don't have the right materials. Will you come on? You can go to Home Depot and buy the patch equipment to fix some of those potholes. They're just not being done. I would like to know why. Maybe somebody could look into that and get back to us, because we have to drive down these streets. And you know what happens? When it's raining out, you can't see the pothole until you're in it. And it's very dangerous. We're supposed to be about safety and protecting our citizens. All of the items you guys have been discussing have been big ticket items. The things we're asking for are small items. Very small and easily fixed things that the city could do. You folks have the power to make that happen. You have to get your different directors of the different departments in here and give them instructions to get on the ball and do something. We're just tired. Because we come over here and we speak, and it seems like we get the bobblehead. We never get an answer, and we never get a pothole filled. Would you please help us out?
Anyone else like to get up and address the council? Margaret?
Margaret A. Krasminski, 1 Robart Street in the Allentown section of West Haven. When I was coming tonight, I come down David Street, and lo and behold, somebody decided to abandon a car on the bottom of David Street. Luckily, there was a police officer there, and he put that yellow sticker on it. Hopefully, it won't take too long for that car to disappear. Now, I read in the paper, City Hall wants new windows because of the drafts, okay? I have drafts in my windows too, but I take care of it myself. City Hall, forget about it. We need the money for other things that are important to this city, like potholes that have to be filled. Okay? You have to drive over them, so do I. So do the people that live in this community, so do the buses that take the kids to school. Have you noticed lately the drivers of the cars have no respect whatsoever? I almost got killed 2 weeks ago in going home from one of the meetings here. There was an accident on First Avenue. I stopped because I wanted to see if they needed any help as far as using my cell phone. Traffic coming the other way on First Avenue had no respect whatsoever. They almost hit me, and they almost hit the people who had the accident on my left side. You want new windows with over $600 and some thousand because of drafts? Forget it. Whoever designed this building, well, I don't know who what the builder was, but we had Kelly Construction a number of many years ago. Must have been probably the builder. No way. And as far as a committee to investigate yourself, forget it. I wouldn't trust you as far as you can do it. We need an outside concern to investigate what's been going on in this city hall as far as that money that came to us, more than 2 years ago probably? You can't do it yourself. You need somebody totally outside of the box to find out what the hell's been going on in this city hall. I wouldn't trust you as far as you go. Oh, redistricting. You have a committee also for redistricting? I saw on my iPad the whole shape of West Haven. It was redacted as far as what district it was. I'm trying to figure out Allentown. I understand you're going to try and figure out how many people live in each district so it would come to be the same amount of people for the whole city. That's another joke. Oh my God. People are not voting like they used to years ago. It's getting, well, the mayor, she only, won by 32 votes? I almost fell off my chair at home when I saw the results. People are getting worse. The way things are going, the way politics are, they're not coming out. They're not registering. I can't get my neighbor to vote. He gives me such a bad excuse. It's so disgusting. Get young people out. They don't want to know nothing. They're getting worse, the kids. And especially the shooting that happened a couple weeks ago in Buffalo. You don't know what's going on in their minds. It's horrible. West Haven needs to turn around. I've seen pictures on my iPhone and iPad with the trash that's going on down at the beach. I feel for those people that are cleaning it up. It's horrible. Absolutely disgusting. My husband used to walk down there every morning at 5 o'clock, but now because of health issues, he's not able to go down there anymore. It's gotten worse down there. It's terrible. City workers, you call and complain about the lights that are not on down there. They don't want to know nothing. If you call and complain and let them know about it, that's your job. People don't want to work anymore. They don't take pride in their work. You got a job. You got benefits. That's your job. Get it fixed. You know, it's gotten worse. Worst. I don't know what it's coming to. Look at the price of gasoline. Oh my God. Now you got to worry about what are you going to do if you have to run an errand. You combine things. God, the UI company, they want to install a smart meter on the outside of my house. They want to charge an extra $5 a month. Oh, you gotta be kidding. The water company sends a bill now every month. They don't want to go every 3 months. I guess pretty soon we're going to get a bill for the breathing of air. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mark. Anyone else would like to get up and address the council?
How you doing? Rich Diso, 200 Oak Street. All right, just there's a few other things that everybody have already talked about, so I'm not going to bring a lot of it up. But yes, the beach, there's on Oak Street, the boardwalk. I actually just swept off a lot of the sand because a lot of it hasn't been done. I just did that Thursday, so people can dance on the boardwalk for the DJs. Trash, yes. We need more cans out there. The kids are not gonna go walk to find a trash can, so we need trash cans on the beach. So the kids hopefully will put it in the trash can. There's at least, I don't know, 50, 60 bottles and cans that were all over, nips, everything this weekend. Oil in the off the pier there on Oak Street. If you look down on the right hand side where you guys just fixed that fence, there was like a smear of oil. There's a tarp in the water. Maybe at low tide, hopefully the guy who does the raking can rake at low tide to bring some of that crap out of the water. But we do need those extra cans down there for at least these kids, hopefully. There are kids constantly down there, motorcycles, spinning the wheels, doing donuts and everything in those parking lots. At least, I would say 4 times this weekend police were down there after being called. So you can see the donuts in the parking lots tearing up. A few kids almost broke the fences down there by sitting on them, so no one is holding them accountable. And they know this. They know the police is not going to do what they need to do because obviously the kids on the bikes, there's no chase law and stuff. So, and you can't just give a ticket to a car because you don't know if that person is driving the car or not. So we need to somehow wrangle these kids up and get to their parents or whoever. We need to do something about them. I don't have the answer to that, but I'm just trying to bring that more to your attention. Also, what else was it? The garbage cans. Oak Street also, like Lisa, she was mentioning before, where that sidewalk was split up, where she fell. She did report it that day, and I know you guys can't comment back, but just look into it because it was fixed like 6 months later. But seniors and disabled down there, especially at Oak Street, we're already having enough hard time inside the building. We need a better area outside to help them out. All right, just do a please, let's get the police out there. Let's try to do shore patrol or something on these beaches. They have scooters because I know during the summer they park them at Surfside's building garage. When the truck's not in there, there's little golf carts that sit in there for the police department. So I know they go on the sand a lot of times. Public Works. So I've seen many a times that trucks, like one of the yellow trucks or Public Works, they drive 10, 15 minutes to go to Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's or whatever for their break or lunch. They sit there 10 or 15 minutes and then they drive another 10 or 15 minutes back to there. So that's a lot of wasted time. And like 11 o'clock in the morning, see trucks driving around with nothing in it. They're just, talking on the phones or whatever in their trucks. And then they're on break. So look into that. Have Tom look into this. Or his assistant, somebody needs to hold them accountable to doing their job as well. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Anyone else like to get up and address the council? Second time. Anybody else would like to get up and address the council? Third and last time. Yes. Couldn't wait.
I'm here to represent these people for the shore. Ed O'Brien, 36 Platt Avenue. All weekend long, there were fights down there. There was trash all over the place. Just people throwing garbage on the beach. There was or at least it didn't seem like there was nobody down there cleaning up, no Public Works. And I understand it's early in the season, but I think that you have to kind of pivot on days like that when you have a nice day and there's lots of garbage down there. And these people that are down there all summer long have to fear for their safety. There's, like I said, kids on bikes. There's fighting. There's motorcycles driving on the boardwalk. There's going to be a problem down there, and it's going to be a huge liability for our city if we don't somehow pivot when they have problems and take care of the problem. And again, I know it's early. I know the police will be down there once they're out of the schools and schools are over. That's where they get assigned to. But in the meantime, something has to be done. That, I think, is the most important thing. There's a lot of people down there. Hundreds of thousands of people go down there every weekend, and as the summer goes, every day. It's a huge liability for the city. Another issue that I wasn't going to speak about, but I read in the paper today about the windows in City Hall. Back in 2017, maybe 2016, there was a study on this building, and the caulk in the windows contained PCB. And the PCBs were very, very costly to get rid of, to eliminate the environmental concerns on that. I just want you to know that because that could substantially raise the cost. It's not just the windows, that's the small part. The large part is remediation of the PCBs. That again, I don't know if anybody told you that. I don't know if anybody met with you guys and told you about that, but it came up in a study. So there is a study out there of this building. The last part is, it just angers me, and I know I sound like a broken record, but we went to Tier 4 6 days ago. Where's the mayor? I realize that you guys meet and you talk about things, but you can only meet a few at a time. The point of these meetings isn't just for the people of West Haven to complain to you and get looked at and disrespected, quite frankly, by the chairman. The point of this is for her to meet with you and let you know what's going on. This is her opportunity, twice a month, to meet with the city council as a group and fill you in on issues related to the city. Doesn't it bother you that she's not here? I know you can't meet, all 13 of you, with the mayor. And if you do, that's an illegal meeting. So she should have been here. Once again, she should have been here. I know she would say it's not her job because we really don't know what her job is. I don't think she fully understands what her job is, but she should have been here.
Excuse me, Ed, may I interject one thing? The mayor's husband is very, very sick, and that's the reason why she's not here tonight.
Okay, well, I'm very sorry to hear about Arthur.
Yes.
But then Lou should have been here. Somebody from her office should have been here to listen to these people. And again, my thoughts do go out to them. You never want to hear that anybody, but somebody should be here representing her office. And that leads me to my last thing. Lisa was speaking over here. She asked a question. She doesn't come here regularly. She doesn't know the procedure. She asked a question and got dead silence. That's your job, Mr. Chairman, to kind of run the meeting and fill her in and just let her know. I shouldn't have to, from my seat, tell her that you can have back and forth dialogue. That's your job. We talk about decorum, but it goes both ways. So again, I think you need to respect the people here. When I asked a question 2 weeks ago, I still haven't gotten my answers, and I asked questions prior to that. Do you really believe the point of this meeting is just for people to stand up here and vent to you and get stared at and not get any answers? So I'm done. I think the quorum goes both ways. I think, Mr. Chairman, you need to watch the hot mics because it's very disrespectful to a resident. Thank you.
Anybody else like to get up and address the council?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Aaron Turney, 146 Union Ave. I just want to first start up saying it's prom season, so I just wanted to thank those of you who helped at a drip project that I saw you there. I remember seeing Bridget there, Sarah, Melly, Stacy was there. Am I missing anyone? Colleen, were you there? Yeah, at least the day I was there. And thank you all of that did stuff like that. That's I love that type of stuff in West Haven. I also want to get up here and say, what is the status on charter revision? With the amount of upheaval that's going on in the town right now, we should be going through charter revision. There's a lot of things we could have changed a couple years ago. I know a lot of residents look back on wishing we did. We don't necessarily have to do those changes, but we should really open up the charter. And every week that goes by, the sooner we're getting to another election, in which it's going to be too late to do any charter changes. I saw on the agenda packet that the fire departments are requesting money to give out hazard pay, and I support this wholeheartedly. I don't understand why our frontline fire and police did not receive hazard bonuses as other communities around us did during COVID. It's the least we could do. These were our frontline employees that were out there every day during the pandemic. Instead, we had bonuses handed out to City Hall employees. What message does that send to our frontline workers? Regarding the Haven, when Corp Council got up last time, he says, you guys can't force the developers here. You can ask, and just keep asking. And if they don't come, let us know. It gives us a data point. I don't understand his resistance to just request and have him come here before us. Get Simon here. I don't need the Gordon Group anymore. I want Simon. They're the developers that are going to run the mall. They should be here before us. Keep asking. It's important for the residents of my part of town to know what's going on with this project. Regarding Beach Street, I know a lot of people are complaining about Beach Street. Where's the status on raising the rest of it? Where is that permit? What's the status of that? I think the residents should know. It's another season we're going to go through in which the road's not raised. Should be a priority project in the town. It just seems like the city can't multitask. The city has to put people in charge of these projects that can handle multiple projects at once. And the supervisors have to be able to supervise. I don't understand how these things keep falling through the cracks. I don't understand how you guys keep asking for information. You don't get it. You should be able to. It's the only way we hold the city accountable is through you. And I hope you guys keep asking the hard questions and keep pushing for this information. And I'm sad to hear about the mayor's husband tonight. But we need progress in this town. We're not moving forward. And we need leadership from somewhere. And I implore you guys, please, 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 at least on the Haven, get the developer here one night. Let us know. I would love them to come to the 3rd District and have a neighborhood meeting. Thank you.
Anyone else? Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chris Vargo, 31 Hilltop Lane. On your agenda tonight is the appointment of Roberta Garlock to the Board of Ethics. I've been recently elected chairman of the Board of Ethics, and I find Roberta to be a woman of strong moral character who is not afraid to speak her mind, and I look forward to serving with her, and I really hope that you will approve her appointment. And also on your agenda tonight is the appointment of Jonathan Jones to the Board of Health, right? To the Board of Health. I've had the pleasure of serving with Jonathan for a number of years in Cub Scout Pack 288, and I have nothing but the highest level of respect and admiration for him, and I think that you should put him on any board that he asks for. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to get up and address the council? For a second time, anybody else like to get up and address the council? Third and final time, anybody else like to get up and address the council? Public session is closed. At 8:34. 8:29.
Yeah, 29.
Yeah, 8:24. Ready? I do approve the minutes of the special meeting of May 5th, 2022.
Motion approved.
Second.
Yeah, there was something in there, I think. The
Councilwoman
second-
Hosky
yeah.
made a motion to approve.
In the
And
second.
it was seconded by Councilwoman Hosky.
Yeah, that's a mistake.
That's gotta be changed.
That's gotta be changed. See where it is, folks?
I'll check the notes, okay.
I don't know who,
Minutes of the May 5th meeting, special meeting.
yeah. I'll have to
Is that
check
what,
the
if that's what we're approving? Yes.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
With the change.
Yeah, they changed it. Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes with the changes. The approval of the minutes of the budget meeting from April 5th and May 5th.
Second.
Anybody any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion passes. Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting for May 9th, 2022.
Motion.
Motion.
I have something. Under,
Second first.
Pardon?
Second.
Thank you.
under the windows, I had accidentally voted for the amendment, which I thought was, I voted no on the amendment, but I meant to vote no on the windows. I just want to state that for public record. I know it doesn't affect anything, but I just want to make sure the public knows that.
Do you want me to change the minutes? You can't
Can't
change the
change
minutes.
it, just want to say
Mhm.
that. Just want
Can't
to say
change
that.
your vote.
Yeah, right,
Can't change your vote.
right, just wanted to.
No change to the minutes, just call the question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I abstain. I wasn't there. The approval of the minutes of the special meeting for May 16th, 2022.
So moved.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Ronnie abstains, he wasn't here. And the approval of the minutes, the special meeting for May 18th, 2022.
Colin,
Robert,
second.
Any questions? All in favor? Abstentions? Two abstentions. Motion passes. All right, before we start, I gotta do an add-on. The audit company's contract will be Communication J for the annual 2021 audit, and Communication K for the 2022 audit contract.
Need a motion.
Do I have a motion? No, second. Any questions? All in favor? Any abstentions? Motion passes. Okay,
I'll pass out the communications.
yep.
Okay, so we have before us Communication A from the tax collector in regards to overpayment refunds for the month of April 2022, which will be filed with tonight's minutes. Communication B from the tax collector in regards to overpayment refunds for the month of May 2022, which will also be filed with tonight's minutes. Communication C from Joseph Perno, Chief of Police of the West Haven Police Department, in regards to the animal shelter donations being assigned to the Finance Committee. Acting as chair,
Wanna do
Ronald
it?
Quag.
Sure.
We'll just have to listen closely, that's all.
Okay.
Okay, acting chair Ronald Quagliani. Communication D from Mayor Nancy Rossi in regards to consider the appointment of Roberta M. Garlock of 125 Great Circle Road, West Haven, to the Board of Ethics. This appointment would be effective immediately and expire on January 31st, 2024, being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, also Chairman Quagliani. Communication E from Mayor Nancy Rossi regarding to consider the appointment of Jonathan E. Jones 30 Chew Street, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Board of Health. This appointment would be effective immediately and expire on January 31st, 2024. Being assigned to the Personnel and Civil Service Committee, Chairman Quagliani. Communication F from Patricia Farguson from the Ward Heidman House Museum Foundation regarding energy conservation HVAC system. Total NAA funding request of $25,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting as the chair, Chairman Quagliani. Communication G from Amy Guerry McFarlane, Executive Director of the West Haven Community House Association, regarding energy conservation and capital improvements to facilities. Total NAA funding requested $120,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting as chair, Chairman Quagliani. Communication H from Patricia Farguson, West Haven Child Development Center, in regards to energy efficient air filtration systems for classrooms. Total NAA funding requested $15,000, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting as chair, Chairman Quagliani. And communication I from Tom McCarthy, Commissioner of Public Works regarding the, to accept the bottle bill funds and terms that the City Council hereby directs the mayor to cause and receive funds to be separated, accounted for, and not deposited into the general fund, being assigned to the Legislative Matters Committee, Chairman Bruno. And then we have the new communications which have been added. Communication J from Mayor Nancy R. Rossi regarding the contract between PKFO Connor Davies and the City of West Haven for the annual fiscal year 2021 audit, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting as chair, Chairman Quagliani. And communication K regarding a communication from Mayor Nancy R. Rossi between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven for the annual fiscal year 2022 audit, being assigned to the Finance Committee, acting as chair, Chairman Quagliani. And that concludes our communications for this evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to communications to finance.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll go to the Finance Committee. Members of the Finance Committee are Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilman Quagliani, Councilwoman Akbarali, Councilwoman Hamilton, myself acting as chair. Councilwoman Hosky is not present at this time. First communication is communication C from Chief Joseph Perno, the West Haven Police Department, in regards to an animal shelter donation. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Councilwoman Hamilton approves. Councilwoman O'Connor seconds. Is there any discussion on the donations? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? And that motion carries. Next up is communication F from Patrice Farguson, Ward Heitman House Museum Foundation, regarding energy conservation HVAC system. Total NAA funding requested $25,000. This is part of their yearly request through the Neighborhood Assistance Act. And I will ask when we get into open session the chairman for a public hearing date. So if we just could move this forward for the agenda. Communication F, all in favor? Just the Finance Committee? I'm sorry, did I have a motion?
We need a motion and a second.
Right?
Second.
Okay, I heard Councilman Hamilton, Councilman Valley, and O'Connor. Any discussion in the Finance Committee? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Same thing with Communication G from Amy Guay McFarland, Executive Director, West Haven Community House Association, regards to energy conservation and capital improvements to facilities. Total NAA funding requested $120,000. Councilwoman O'Connor moves, Councilwoman Hamilton seconds. Is there any discussion? Seeing none with the committee, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries, and we'll bring that out to the committee for a public hearing date. Communication H from Dr. Patrice Farguson, West Haven Child Development Center, regarding energy efficient air filtration systems for classrooms. Total NAA funding requested $15,000. Or motion?
Second.
Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilwoman O'Connor. Any discussion within committee? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Communication D from the May 9, 2022 agenda will be held. Hold on there, I just got. Have communication J from tonight's agenda regarding the contract between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven for the annual FY21 audit on May 23rd, 2022. Mr. Jackson, are you here? If you would save me the trouble of my voice, come on up to the podium and just kind of go over this for the entire council, and I'll open it up to the finance and then to the council for questions.
Do we need a motion in a second?
I'm sorry.
first?
Motion to approve. Councilwoman Hamilton. Second by Councilwoman O'Connor. Okay, we have a motion to approve. Mr. Jackson.
Are there specific questions that you have
Well,
on the
if you, listen, we know the history, right? We had one auditor that left, and now we need another auditor to complete our 21. So if you could kind of give us the process. I know it went out to bid. I know what the fee is. If you could tell us what the fee is. Is there a work schedule? Is there any rebate from the old auditor that we may have already paid? Those types of things.
So we did go out to bid via RFP according to city guidelines. We did receive a bid that we accepted from a firm, PKF O'Connor, which is a well-known firm. They've done work in the city of West Haven before. So we were comfortable with a leadership team that was presented and anticipate moving forward. We have not yet set a specific timeline on what the audit looks like. It is very unusual to engage an auditor in May for a year that closed the prior June 30th. But what we also have here is 2 years, because they're going to have to start immediately on next year's work. So there is very little likelihood, and so we have not had an organizational meeting with them yet. We have simply been working on the contract since it came through. So we haven't had an organizational meeting that would answer some of the more detailed questions about timelines, et cetera. I do not expect that they will utilize the work papers from the prior incumbent to the position, because that is not really the way that the auditors work. They want to start from the beginning and work their way through it. Although there may be some information of importance of note that they may want to see. So we do still have to work with a former incumbent. We were hyper focused on getting the auditor in, and then we would figure out how to sort of back into getting what we need from the prior auditors and make the determination as to what action under contract we may wish to proceed with. But we are happy with the firm. We're happy with their level of engagement in an immediate basis, and we are confident that we will be able to move forward in closing this book. Obviously, the audit should be supplied by December 31st, 6 months after the close of the year. And we will be going on over a year before this audit is submitted. So it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort out of the finance department in order to provide clean information in a timely fashion so the auditors can keep rolling. But we have not yet had the organizational meeting that has these specific answers. What I can do is once we have that, I can kind of write it up and have it distributed to members of the council.
And is this an agenda item on the MARB meeting tomorrow? The audit?
The MARB meeting has been rescheduled to June 1st. So it was an item on the last MARB meeting, but as a non-labor item, it is for review and discussion at their pleasure. They chose not to discuss it. The mayor did indicate that we were finalizing a contract, so they're aware of the status of it.
Finance Committee, any questions, Mr. Jackson? Councilwoman O'Connor?
I was just curious, isn't a timeline, how quickly we want the report, wouldn't that be, tell us how much they would charge us?
No, it's a lump sum fee.
It's a lump sum fee no matter how long,
Yes,
how quickly we
yes,
need
if
it?
it takes 1 month or it takes 6 months, it's the same fee.
Thank you.
Any other questions of the committee? Okay, open it up to the whole council. Any questions to the council, Councilman Bruno?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is it normal to pick the auditing firm before you have an organizational meeting?
Yeah, yes.
Normal, so you didn't speak to them or bring them in to understand what the concept's gonna be prior to hiring them?
No, what we presented was a standard annual audit, and they were the firm selected.
And they met
so-
that criteria?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Nothing else, Mr.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Jackson, I understand the other audit company started it, but they left. Now, this new company comes in, they gotta start from the beginning again, right? 'Cause they don't pick up from where they left off.
Certainly, from their perspective, that is the cleanest way for them to do it, because they certainly do not want to inherit, from their perspective, any potential errors embedded in the work papers of the prior incumbent.
Thank you, thank you.
Councilman Donovan, and then Councilman Boris.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Jackson. I believe Councilman Quagliani mentioned it before. With this auditor leaving, is their contract's been fulfilled? Do they owe us anything for them just up and leaving us?
That is under discussion right now.
Okay.
Again, our focus was making sure we had an auditor on the books.
Right.
And then we will clean up from the last auditor.
Thank you, thank you.
Councilman Boris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question, the new people that are gonna do that audit, do they communicate with the old auditors just to make sure that they know what was going on, or they just gonna say, look, we don't wanna have no interest with the old auditors, we're gonna do everything ourselves?
Typically, they would only use any documents prepared as part of a prior audit period. So they would look back 1 year, but they likely will not want to inherit the work papers for FY '21 because they don't want to guess or assume anything within those papers. They will probably want to start from baseline 0 and build the audit from there.
And then you said that you're very happy with them, like, what do you mean? They said we're very happy with these auditors, like, what does that mean?
They have a sterling reputation. They've worked in West Haven before. You can only keep auditors really for so long before you have to swap out, because it doesn't serve anyone's purpose to get too close to the auditors. So industry standard is about 3 years, and so 4 or 5 years ago they were the auditors for the city of West Haven. So they know us. They know what to look for. They know how to look for it. So it should be an engagement that is effective.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Councilwoman?
I just have a quick question. What is the prep time to make sure that nothing is missed in the audit for any documentation that was missed prior?
There isn't really sort of a set standard.
Mhm.
What they will do is they will request files or request access to files.
Okay.
And if they have trouble either sort of deciphering them or obtaining them, then they will come to me and ask for some assistance in facilitating
Okay,
such. But
great.
there's no
There's
specific
no set
timeline.
time. Okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else for the first time? Councilwoman Tucker?
Do you know why your other auditor left?
My understanding is it was a conversation with the mayor in which they indicated that changes in West Haven made them uncomfortable continuing the engagement. That is all I can say.
I'm good.
You all set? Councilwoman O'Connor?
I just wanted to make it very clear for the record, I'm not related to anyone in that audit firm. I've never even met them. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else in the council? All right, I'm gonna bring it back just to the finance committee and call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Are there any abstentions? Okay, and that communication J passes. Now we have communication K for the annual audit FY '22. Again, O'Connor Davies, this is for year ending June 30, 2022. So, Mr. Jackson, this is just gonna fold right in after 2021 is done, right? Any questions regarding FY '22 audit from the finance committee or the council as a whole? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Oh, maybe you need a motion, right? Motion from the finance committee?
So moved.
Councilwoman O'Connor,
Second.
Councilwoman Aquarelli. Any discussion? Okay, vote in the finance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. You know,
Still have it.
you know. All right.
Closed, right?
Your finance committee is closed. Sorry, I'm new at this.
That's
Your
okay.
finance committee is closed at 8:51 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will take it to personnel and civil service. Councilman Bruno. Oh, Councilman Quagliani, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service is now in session. It's 8:51 PM. Members present are Councilman Bruno, Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilwoman Hamilton, Councilwoman Hosky is absent right now. And for us, we have communication D from Mayor Nancy Rossi in regards to the consideration of the appointment of Roberta Garlock, 125 Great Circle Road, West Haven, to the Board of Ethics. This appointment will be effective immediately and expire on January 31, 2024. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Bruno, seconded by Councilwoman O'Connor. Any discussion within the committee? Councilwoman O'Connor?
I just want to say that I've worked with Roberta on a few things with the painting of the trash cans and on the CDA, the Black Grant funds. Roberta will ask the tough questions, but I think she will be totally fair in the end as to how certain ethic things come out, and I wholeheartedly give her my support.
Thank you, Councilwoman O'Connor. Councilwoman Hamilton?
I've come to know Roberta, and I think that she'll fit this position fine, and that she'll make hard and sound and ethical decisions. I think she'll do well.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hamilton. Anybody else in the committee? Okay, seeing no other discussion, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? The motion carries. Then we have communication E from Mayor Nancy Rossi regards to the consideration of the appointment of Jonathan E. Jones, 32 Street, West Haven, to the Board of Health. This appointment will be effective immediately and expire on January 31, 2024. Is there a motion?
So,
Councilwoman O'Connor, is there a second? Councilwoman Hamilton and Councilman Bruno. Any discussion? Councilwoman Hamilton.
Okay. I've come to know Jonathan also, and at some very, really tough family times. I think that he'll do well on this committee and serve the residents of West Haven well when it comes to the health department. I'm in favor of him.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hamilton. Any other discussion within the committee? Seeing none, we'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and that motion carries. Mr. Chairman, that concludes your Personnel and Civil Service Committee at 8:54 PM.
Thank you, Councilman Conrad. Next up would be Councilman Bruno and legislative matters.
We're gonna hold that communication I tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Get a vote on it.
No, we don't have to hold it, we have to hold it, we just have to, can you just say who's present at your committee, please?
Councilwoman O'Connor, hold on a second.
Going on.
So hold it, you wanted it?
Yeah, you have to open up the committee.
Okay, it's gonna be Councilwoman O'Connor, Councilman Galliano is absent, Councilman Morris, and Councilwoman Acadella.
Okay, and we started at 8:55 and we're closing at 8:55
We're
also.
gonna hold that for some further.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Unfinished business?
None.
None?
None.
Okay. Committee reports.
I'm gonna read.
The Finance Committee, Councilman,
I have to read,
yeah, you read the tax things.
Okay. So I'm gonna read communication A and B into the, record here. It's communication A from tax collector in regards to overpayment refunds for the month of April 2022, which will be filed with tonight's minutes. And communication B from the tax collector in regards to overpayment refunds for the month of May 2022, which will also be filed with tonight's minutes.
Thank you. Stacy? Now we go into committee reports. Finance Committee, Councilman Pagliani.
So just read this one. Right.
Just read them.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it for him. All right, to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of the animal shelter donations, reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of May 2022 to consider this said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the West Haven Police Department has received the following donations totaling $745 for the animal shelter per Connecticut Status 7-148C3 A and B in General Order 89-04. We are forwarding these donations for approval. The City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the animal shelter donations to be deposited in the animal shelter donations account number 101-00000-28285. Linda Venus, $40. Laura Peters, $50. Joseph Negre, $35. Florence Palermo, $25. Angela Russo, $100. Robert Whalen Jr., $50. Elizabeth Rydell, $100. Barbara Baum, $10. And West Haven Lodge of Elks, $335.
And we so move.
I hear a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any questions? Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, next up, we have a communication F from Patrice Farguson, Ward Hyman House Foundation regarding energy conservation HVAC system, total funding $25,000. I'm looking for a public hearing date and time.
Public hearing date will be June 13th at 6:45.
Thank you. Next up is communication G from Amy Gray McFarland, Executive Director of the West Haven Community House Association, regards to energy conservation and capital improvements facilities. Total NAA funding requested $120,000. Same thing, I'm looking for a public hearing date and time.
It'll be June 13th at 6:50.
Communication H from Dr. Patrice Farguson, West Haven Child Development Center, regarding energy efficient air filtration systems for classrooms. Total NEA funding requested $15,000. Again, public hearing date and time, please.
It'll be June 13th at 6:55.
Thank you. Communication D from May 9, 2022 agenda has been held. Communication J to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of Mayor Nancy R. Rossi's contract between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven. Reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of May 2022 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolve, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the contract between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven for the annual FY21 audit. The undersigned further certifies that Nancy Rossi now holds the office of mayor and that she has held that office since December 3, 2017. And I so move.
Hear a second?
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes.
Communication K. To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Finance, to whom was referred the matter of Mayor Nancy R. Rossi's contract between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven. Reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of May 2022 to consider said matter. It is unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolve, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the contract between PKF O'Connor Davies and the City of West Haven for the annual FY22 audit. The undersigned further certifies that Nancy Rossi now holds the office of mayor and that she has held the office since December 3rd, 2017. And I so move.
I hear a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? Abstentions? Motion passes.
And that concludes your business to finance, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Council as a whole, for communication A4 from the May 29th, 2022 agenda from the chiefs of the city of the three fire districts department regarding the ARPA funds requested. We're going to put that on hold until we verify more information on what personnel are going to get this if we do decide to get it for them. So I'm putting it on hold.
Next up, personnel.
Hmm?
Next up, personnel, civil service.
Personnel and services.
Mhm.
Personnel and services there, Councilman Quagliani.
Communication D. To the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, to whom was referred the matter of the appointment of Roberta M. Garlock, 125 Great Circle Road, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Ethics Board. Reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of May 2022 to consider said matter. It is the unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved, the City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the appointment of Roberta M. Garlock, 125 Great Circle Road, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Ethics Board. This appointment will be effective immediately and expire on January 31, 2024.
Here a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? Abstentions?
Discussion.
Oh, you wanna- go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I've known Roberta for many years. Started out with West Haven United over there, and now she's working diligently with doing volunteer work around. But this is a perfect name because her ethics are superb. So for her being on the Board of Ethics is absolutely 100%. She's got my vote for that. She's honest. She asks hard questions. She's fair, and she says it like it is, which I deeply respect in that. So I just wanted to put that out there, that I am 100% in favor of her. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Yes,
I would like to say that I also know Roberta, and I met her when I first moved here. She came out to help us at Sandy Point, and she's very fair, she's very honest, and I think she'd make a great addition to the committee.
Thank you.
Just want to say Roberta's a woman of integrity, and she's always professional. Every time I see her doing something, she's very professional. And I also vouch for her. She's very awesome.
Thank you. Anyone else in discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes.
Okay, Communication E to the Honorable City Council of the City of West Haven, your Committee on Personnel and Civil Service, to whom is referred the matter of the appointment of Jonathan E. Jones, 30 Chew Street, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Board of Health. Reports that the committee met on the 23rd day of May 2022 to consider said matter. It is unanimous opinion of the committee that the following motion be presented. Resolved. The City Council of the City of West Haven hereby approves the appointment of Jonathan E. Jones, 30 Chew Street, West Haven, Connecticut, to the Board of Health. This appointment will be effective immediately and expire on January 31, 2024.
You have a second? Any discussion?
So I just want to say, I've known Jonathan for about 2 years. He's been a great friend and a support to my family as he supported us through the loss of both my mother and my husband. He's a funeral director, and he's been a funeral director since the age of 16. He's also an LPN. So I'd be in favor of a nomination to Jonathan for service on the West Haven Board of Health. He's also demonstrated great care and compassion to countless other families, including Robin's family, which is also like my extended family, who have suffered losses prior to and during the pandemic. I think that the funeral directors are like the unsung heroes of the pandemic. So I think he would do a phenomenal job of advocating on behalf of families and really do a good job of infection prevention, which they did so that you can have decent and safe funerals during the pandemic. So I highly recommend him and nominate him, approve the nomination for him.
Thank you, Councilwoman Tucker.
I would like to say Jonathan is, every time I met him paying taxes, he was paying his taxes, and he's always been a man that's professional, and even when my dad passed away from COVID, he's open his, he's always volunteered to say, hey, I'll help you in any way, so I think he's real great for this position, and I also second it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Congratulations to both of you. Set there.
Oh, so thank you.
Legislative matters. That's all.
Communication I is being held.
All set? Adoptions of ordinances in previous presented, none?
There are none.
Council liaison reports?
None.
No. New business? Councilman Domino.
Yeah, it's been brought by many council members, but again, I feel that would like the Simon Group to show up to us. I know it's we've requested numerous times to them. I know we can't force them, but again, just want to request again for them to show up and speak to us about what's going on at the Havens. That's it.
Okay.
I just want to say a comment. Just as the council understand that I was at the beach yesterday, and it was so sad. It broke my heart to see actually two little girls, maybe 15 years old, really fighting at the beach. And I asked, Chief, Perno, I asked the council just to, if there's any way to make sure that there's more police presence from any way we can, because seeing that and the racial slurs that they were saying and the hate. The next thing is, God forbid, somebody takes out a knife or I guess they're pointing to a gun. I don't wanna see kids get hurt, you know, and if you see this little girl, how she looked and how bruised she was, it's heartbreaking, so I just wanna say, you know, we do need more police presence at the beach. So. It just hurts to see that, sorry, thank you.
I want to add to that, I did text back and forth with Chief Colonel this morning because there was a lot of stuff going on the beach and we got a lot of complaints. And unfortunately, because we're so short-staffed, we just don't have what it takes to send them down to the beach as often. And, you know, I talked to him about possibly adding civilians as like deterrents, like a civilian patrol, but he didn't think that that would be a good idea because it had failed in other communities. So I think the only option we have is to try to retain our police and to try to make sure that we can keep some more down there. I wanted to add more, but we don't have the money to add more police, so.
Well, you all do realize that we got caught kind of short because we had this hot weather for these 2 days. And majority of the time it happens after Memorial Day and we start getting patrols there and everything. And when the school gets down, they're on those bikes and there's 4x4s down there. And so happened to be, this happened this weekend, which I all agree, we don't have to put up with all the trash and everything and the way people act. But it's unfortunately it happened to us too at a very onset right away. Hopefully during the summer things will get better and see what happens. I don't wish it on anybody to have a bad time down the West Haven beaches. Our beaches are beautiful and people do use them. And I do agree with everybody, but people got to control themselves too and what they're out there too. And I've listened to everybody out there talk about trash, and be honest with you, we got people that just bought the parkade. They're redoing that whole parkade. And I've noticed there, every time I go there, people throw, like the lady said, diapers, bottles, and they're working on keeping that area clean. They're redoing everything, and you just can't keep up with it, even on private property. And to me, it breaks my heart to see our city get trashed like that. It's too bad that people are not caught and they get a fine for it.
Distance between trash cans, I think it's like 25 feet or something like that, which decreases the number of times you see trash spilling over. So I don't know if there's an opportunity to take a look and see how far the distance there is between the trash cans that we have. Maybe we need more trash cans down there. It may be something as simple as that, but definitely more pickup, because that's what you're hearing also, is that there's not a presence from Public Works out there to pick up the trash. So.
Anybody else got anything?
I wanted to see if we could call the city engineer forward because I want to ask him, I hope the council will ask too some questions about phase 1 of Beach Street. It seems like the road is getting worse, the waves are getting deeper, and they're kind of, it almost feels like even the railings are starting to twist. And as every day that I drive back and forth on that, I'm noticing it's getting worse and worse. And I was hoping we could get some sort of answer as to whether or not that is going to continue to happen, if it's just settled now, if it's going to stay like that. Is it going to happen to phase 2 and phase 3? I know I think we're still in the permit phase with deep there, but I would really like to find out, or at least expect what's going to happen to the road there. Are we going to also get a dippy road there as well in those 2 spots? So I was hoping I could ask the city engineer to come and explain to the public, and maybe some of us might want to ask him some questions about that, because it was a very expensive project and it really doesn't look good. I mean, I think all of us have driven down it, right? Most of us.
Okay, anybody else? Steve?
Just a real quick thought, sitting here listening about the trash and the fighting and everything going on. I don't know how the rest of the council's feeling. I know we each represent our districts, but I think this is a clear indicator that we need to work a little harder. I know we've had a lot on our plate lately with finishing the budget and other special meetings, but this to me is an indicator of we need to get the horse out of the stable on the ARPA funds. And I know there's caution with what we've talked about, but as I'm sitting here listening to the problem, security cameras would help solve a lot of that. And I know that's on the plan, and unfortunately, the inflation isn't stopping. And I know I fear personally, I don't want to be one looking back in my legacy here, however long or short it is. I'd rather spend the money and get some good out of it and then not spend any of it. Or even worse, of what's possibly happening is we're gonna get less bang for our buck because the prices keep going up and we're gonna be left with little to spend on. So that's all I have to say.
Anyone else? Okay. Regular meeting is going to an executive session. Regular meeting.
Go into executive session.
I'm gonna ask for a vote.
Oh, I thought you needed a motion, sorry.
Ask for a vote. Do I hear a vote? Second? All in favor? Okay, thank you. We'll be in executive session, folks. council's back into regular session at 9:48, and we're coming up with a motion, and Councilwoman O'Connor will state it.
I would like to make the motion that the city council gets the 5-year plan. We get an updated status on the unfunded contractual provisions. We also get information on the insufficient progress on the fund balance and information on the unsupported departmental expenditure increases by June 1st.
Second that.
Here, a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Any opposed or abstaining?
Any opposed? Abstentions?
Okay.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
It wasn't gonna happen anyway.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion.
Hold on.
I would just like to add for Stacy, you guys went a little quick through the meeting minutes, and I missed, on page, well, they have it as page 3 on the budget meetings. You can see that I'm quoted down here asking Chief Perno about the, bottle collection from Vertical Church, but it says that I was absent on April 12th. And then also on May 5th, it says that I was, oh wait, not May 5th, sorry, page before. May 3rd, I was absent, I was just late. Thank you.
Is that? Is that?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. All in favor?
Aye.